Morgan, got some breaking news.
No.
The Kings need a point guard.
Oh, well,
some breaking news.
yeah.
This is where we are at in the NBA offseason, where it becomes rumor central, and we're going to be all over it because what else do we have to do at this point?
Well, okay. That's what else are we going to do with our lives, huh?
Well, we're not talking about Kings playoff games. We're talking about Kings in the finals. We're going, okay, who the hell could they possibly get at point guard? Man, crazy to think about. 3 years ago, they had 3 of them on the roster. Fox, Halliburton, and Davion Mitchell. Now it's going, Morgan, are you available to play some minutes for us?
I could. My left is weak as shit, but yes, I could.
Now, we should caution you. This is like DMZ. It's all rumors, okay? It's nothing like super confirmed at this point.
It's rumor news. That's why even when you came on and you said breaking news, I was like, what are you breaking? And then you broke it. And then it's like, no, this is rumor news, though.
Yeah. Marc Stein, Jake Fisher, had a report about the Kings today saying that the Kings are continuing to evaluate their point guard spot.
Good.
Holy shit. A new GM, Scott Perry. Remember, he immediately highlighted the Kings' need for improved playmaking during his introductory press conference, and sources have duly linked Sacramento to various guards known to be available this summer. That list includes Jrue Holiday in Boston, Marcus Smart in Washington, and stretches to more affordable free agent ball handlers like Malcolm Brogdon. Your reaction to hearing the names of Malcolm Brogdon, Marcus Smart, and Jrue Holiday as potential point guard options for the Sacramento Kings?
I think it's hard because when you have a roster that doesn't have a point guard and then you hear names of any point guard, you go, well, they need a point guard. They need a point guard.
He's better than what they have with the roster.
I mean, literally, because they don't have a point guard. But when I hear those names, I don't get excited. But at the same time, I go, what is going to excite me? You know, what would excite me is like some unknown name. And then I go, who the fuck is that? And then they develop in Sacramento and then they're cheap and their contract makes sense. And it's like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But that's a dream. So then when I do look at these names, let's just start with Malcolm Brogdon.
I'm out.
Well, yes.
Malcolm Brogdon, he's not a starting point guard in the NBA. He gets hurt all the time. He's going to he's
nice.
32. He played 24 games last year, 39 games before that. He did play 67 games with the Celtics when he won Sixth Man of the Year in Boston. He is a free agent. Could he be affordable? Yes. He played with Sabonis. Okay. I'm not even saying I don't like him as a player, but I'm just going, for where this team is going, I guess we don't technically know. I just don't get enamored with a 32-year-old guard who is missing, 75% of the season every year.
But I also think too, when we go into this season, I don't know. There are no expectations. Like I don't have expectations that
there's a lot of unknown.
There's so much unknown that I just don't want it to be a year of try out this guy on his expiring contract and then you lose him and it was going to be nothing anyway. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't want a whole bunch of just like misses. I would at least want bodies here that could help other players or have veteran experience, have experience in this league. But
yeah, and I hear that
if they can't stay on the floor, then what can they truly learn from that person?
And I think in some regard, you go, okay, some of these names are like, it's a stopgap. I don't think Scott Perry, if he goes after some of these guys, is going, hey, we found our point guard for the future. Let's go. This championship, it's coming. It could be like, hey, this is like our bridge to get to the next spot. And a veteran at this point, okay. I just go Malcolm Brogdon. I haven't seen it the last couple of years. He's been injury prone throughout his career. The next name, Marcus Smart. Intriguing.
Thank you.
I'm intrigued by Marcus Smart. On the roster, as a starting guard for your team, no. But if he's coming off your bench, he's had a tough couple of years too since the Boston trade, right? Goes to Memphis, lands with Washington. He's 31 years old. He played 34 games last season, 20 games the season before that. Played a career low in minutes per game. He's entering the final year of his deal that pays him $21.5 million. So that one would have to be via trade. Marcus Smart, if you're trying to establish like a culture of like toughness, defense, even if he's not like that defensive player he once was, like he brings that. Like I think he would help a locker room. I like Marcus Smart.
I'm with you on that. I think how many times have we talked about this man on a roster and being like, that's the type of player that every team needs on their roster, off their bench, whatever else it is. You think about his health history, and especially the last couple of years, and his ups and downs, and just kind of who is he at this point of his career, 31 years old. It's tough to say, but at the same time, like, can his experience from what he's learned about being around winning, and obviously what he brings with his energy and that dog-like mentality, help a King squad for an entire year, right? Because it's the final year of his contract. You said it would have to be within a trade. Completely understand that. Intriguing, I would be fine with, right?
It's not a long-term thing. You know, it's not necessarily something that's going to change the direction of your franchise, but could it help in some ways? And I guess the larger conversation is like, what is Scott Perry's mindset going into this offseason? I think everyone believes it's not getting torn down.
Yes.
Into like, hey, we're going tank mode, we're going to be terrible. No, I think what it's going to be is like, yeah, it could be an extreme makeover with totally different pieces involved. But I think it's to tweak it and to be competitive next year in the West, which is going to be challenging to do so. But what are some things you can do to improve your roster? Anyway, I don't look at Marcus Smart as a starting guard in this league. I think he's a bench guy.
But he would most likely be a starter on this.
Maybe
that's what happens in Sacramento. Anyone that comes here and
you're miscast a little bit.
You really are. You are, because you lack different pieces along your roster. So this last name, Jrue Holiday, I love this name. I would be so excited to have Jrue Holiday on this roster. Oh, what's that? What did you say? 3 more years on his contract and he's 35 effing years old? And it's not to say that he's just like has gone downhill at all. I mean, he played 60 plus games last year. He's a two-way player, can play on both sides of the ball. You have that type of leadership mentality in Sacramento. All of that sounds great. It just really scares me with his contract. Having another big contract and old guy.
Big contract for sure. And looking how he's played, it's tough. His numbers have dipped. But part of that could be a product of, hey, you play with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White. They have so many, Peyton Pritchard, so many guys who could score. His role was different than it was in Milwaukee. It's different than it was in other spots. And he's getting older. So yeah, I mean, I think, again, Jrue Holiday, Marcus Smart, like I could see these guys helping, but like the Jrue Holiday one, you're right. You're committed a little bit here. And like
you very much
he's
are.
Probably going to opt into the final year of his deal when he's like 37 and he's making $37 million. Does that make sense for you to do something like that? I don't know. The more I hear these names, Morgan, the more I go, okay, maybe Trae Young and Darius Garland don't sound so bad.
Well, that's what I was just about to ask you, though, because I think sometimes this is what people do. And I mean, we do it too. You get a list of rumors and names, and you go through the list and you go, oh man, really? Oh, that doesn't excite me. That doesn't excite me. It like never excites anyone truly to the max unless it's like a player in their prime or is just like showed up in the last postseason, or even if it's a big name like Kevin Durant, right? Like those are the moments where you go like, yeah, I'm down for that. I'm totally down for that. Is there something that would just make you happy right now? Like that's, I mean, when we look at this list and we go, this doesn't totally please me, this doesn't do it for me. Is there something that is realistic in the league? And you probably can't even think of it.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard Tyus Jones mention. To me, that's a stopgap situation. The other vets out there, Westbrook's likely going to be out there. I'm sure Westbrook would look at the situation in Sacramento and go, whoa, I can go start in Sacramento, do my thing. That would be intriguing for him, I think. And it would be a stopgap thing for Sacramento. Would Chris Paul have interest in Sacramento? I actually don't think so. I think the one that jumps out to me for him would be Dallas. Kyrie out. You go there, play with Cooper Flag and AD. You've got some intriguing pieces and opportunity for him to still play for a team that could still be pretty competitive and has defenders around him. I think that could be intriguing for Chris Paul. So, no, it's tough because, even with someone like Jrue Holiday, it's just like, well, what's the rest of the team look like? Like if you have Jrue Holiday, Keon Ellis, and Keegan Murray in your starting lineup right there, those three.
Yeah.
Some pretty good
some
defenders.
perimeter defense right there, yeah.
The problem is like, okay, who else is in that starting lineup? Sabonis still here? Okay, then I would like to have another guy who's got some size and length in that starting lineup. Where does LaVine fit?
Right.
Are you able to move LaVine? Are you keeping LaVine? If LaVine's here, he's going to be in the starting lineup with Holiday. And you got LaVine, Keegan, Sabonis, and whatever else you put in there. Like, how does it all kind of come together? I think that's what it comes down to, and that's the challenge for Scott Perry. Is we can talk all day about all these rumors, and we can nitpick them to death. It's just like I was nitpicking Trae Young yesterday. I'm like, I don't know, how do you build a team around him that has size and length and all the things you need if he is going to be on your team? And it's tough to figure out. And I think you're going to see the Kings tied to so many names. It's already happening.
I know.
Every point guard, anybody who's played point guard in their life is being attached to Sacramento right now.
The good part is, though, it's just like you kind of said, when you do get to process some of the other rumors, some of the other names, it's like, I do look at Darius Garland today, as I was yesterday as well.
I like Darius Garland too, and someone in the comments was giving me shit about that. No, I like Darius Garland. I highlight he's been an all-star, and he's gotten better every year. My whole thing is, okay, you trade for Darius Garland. You got Darius. How are you surrounding him? I don't want to be in this situation.
But that is going to be the situation no matter what. I think that's what we need to understand. That's going to be the situation no matter what. Because if this organization isn't going to like break everything down, trade everything away, whatever, then the situation is going to be all fuckety and like the roster is going to be weird no matter. And that's why it's a stepping stone though. Who's under contract? Like,
one thing at a time.
Who's young enough? Yes, it's just going to be one of those things where we're back to patience. We're back there because guess what? This is what you have. Sorry.
Even came up with Simmons and Zach Lowe last night. At one point they go, how did this happen in Sacramento? Like, how did this change so fast? The Beam team was so fun. And you're right. It's like, if a Darius Garland move made sense.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's youth. He's keeps getting better and better. And that's on both ends, I feel like. He's under contract.
Yeah, he's under contract for 3 more years.
That's what it was.
Makes a good amount of money, though.
But makes a good amount of money. That was the thing that I was like, oh, shit. Like, that kind of sucks, whatever. But it's like, that's where we are in the NBA. That's where we are. That's where we are at. And it's like, Darius Garland isn't supposed to be the player that takes you to the next level. You're supposed to pair up the correct roster, not around Darius Garland, but to complete what is working in the NBA. And what is working in the NBA? Size, defense, being elite at least something. If you're not going to be elite on both ends of the floor, be elite on the offensive end, pushing the ball up the floor, running fast, like outrunning teams. Again, I mention this every single time because you and I, we talk a lot of Golden State Valkyries, and they are an expansion team, and they're not supposed to be good. But the one thing that they bring every goddamn night is like relentless effort.
Well, Morgan, isn't it why we talk so often at the end of the Kings season when we saw Lamps had Keon, Keegan, like Carter and LaRavia? We're like, dude, this team's fun. Whoa, they switch and they share the ball and they cut. They do all the right things. Yeah, if you have some of those pieces on your team, it could go a long, long way.
Totally
you just have to clean up some of the other stuff that this team has with a lot of ball-dominant, score-first players that aren't very versatile defensively. And that's kind of the challenge. And so one thing, you talk about Darius Garland, and then it gets me back to Trae Young because I do love Trae Young's game. Yeah. I do. I mean, in terms of his offensive ability, his passing, he's got great vision. His shooting, his confidence.
In his prime years.
And I think he's got a personality. He's a heel with other fan bases. I like that stuff. The challenge would be, okay, are you willing to go, Trae Young, we want to give you max money. And then you're fast-tracked in trying to build something around him. And that's the challenge where Garland, he's under contract for a few more years at a cheaper rate, a little younger. Trae Young has more pop, though.
And you have to give max money, though. You also have to give max money to someone who can only play on one side of the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's even
sure.
if he gets better defensively, it doesn't matter. I know, but my point is, like, he's not going to grow.
No, he's going to get hung up on screens. There's going to be mismatches. Teams are going to hunt him
Absolutely.
if you end up, getting to the playoffs at some point. And then this is where I am all over the place. I can't wait for the comments on this YouTube.
I know.
Because I want to hear your guys' perspective on this. Like, the other angle I start looking about is like, okay, maybe the stopgap measure is the way where, okay, for example, Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
We can all be honest about Westbrook, okay?
Yeah.
It's an experience. He's accomplished some amazing things in this league.
Amazing.
MVPs or MVP, a triple, all the triple doubles.
Yep.
Been on winning teams.
Yep.
Plays with an intensity that's the one I love. His intensity has never shifted. My point, though, being is like someone like Westbrook, that's like a 1-year deal, right? It's a stopgap. It's a bridge to trying to figure out what the hell is next, as opposed to being committed to something just to commit to something.
But you say that, but like, what if he can get a 2-year deal from a different team? Then it's like, but
I mean, I don't, to be honest, I don't know how many teams are lining up to give Russell Westbrook at this stage of his career a multi-year deal. Like maybe it's a 1-year deal with a team option, like that type of stuff. But no, I don't know. I'm just like, and it doesn't have to be Westbrook. I'm just talking about like stopgaps. Like Brogdon to me would be a stopgap too, but he's also a guy that I'm like, okay, is he even playing? Like that's the problem.
That's tough with it. It's exactly. It's like we know he brings like different basketball skills, but you're right. With someone like Westbrook, he brings something that he's always had with that energy, that mentality. But then also, I feel like he's done a better job of adjusting his role and understanding what he needs to do out there at times. Other times, it's not consistent. It's not there. It's like you said, it's an experience. But yeah, having that type of player on a team that is so mid right now, like, what's there to lose anymore? Hey, what's there to lose anymore, huh?
Yeah. Just more games. But what if you had like Trae Young, Keon Ellis, Keegan, another a 4 that's kind of athletic and long, and a 5 that's
and who's
that if you move on.
I love that we
Sabonis
just
too.
always say like this person and this person, but yeah, we don't have those names. Like we don't have those people. And then you look around the league, and then even if you look at teams that are going to make some big trades, as Wemby says, Windhorse. Thank you.
Windy? You called him Wemby?
Yes, I just did. Windhorse I was talking about. But even with what he's talking about going into the draft and being like, there's going to be these big trades. The Kings don't have any of these like big assets and names to be in the mix of.
Yeah,
those
and you
things.
probably don't want to go future picks unless you, I don't know. It's complicated.
Do you feel more frustrated after this?
I do. Honestly, I do not feel better. Another name that I'm wondering about.
What?
Is RJ Barrett. Is RJ Barrett available in Toronto? Scott Perry drafted him. He's got good size. He showed his playmaking ability. He could score it. That's intriguing to me.
Sure. How are you going to do
What
it?
if you had Trae Young, RJ Barrett, Keon Ellis, Keegan
I
Murray?
love this game. We just name a whole, and then maybe even Porzingis comes over too. Yeah.
How do you feel about some of these names being tied to Sacramento? Jrue Holiday, Malcolm Brogdon. Who was the other one? Marcus Smart, Tyus Jones, Darius Garland, Trae Young. Where are you at with all of this? What about Westbrook, Chris Paul? What should the Kings do at the point guard spot? Do you want the stopgap or swing for the fences? Trae Young. Let us know in the comments below. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.